All right, let's get right to it. Today, we're putting a word we use all the time under the microscope: celebration. We hear it constantly, right? But we rarely stop to actually decode its linguistic mechanics. So, in today's explainer, we're going on a bit of a linguistic journey to unpack the anatomy of celebration. As you'll see, this seemingly simple term is actually a really robust, highly structured piece of our vocabulary. Okay, let's dive into this. Right off the bat, the simplest definition is exactly what you'd expect. Celebration has to do with, well, celebrating. I know, it sounds painfully obvious, doesn't it? But hold on to that thought for a second. Taking a verb and turning it into a noun is actually a core mechanic of English morphology. It's called nominalization. Grasping this root action and watching how it shifts from something we actively do to a stationary concept we can actually talk about is exactly how we're going to master its nuances today.
So, let's break down the mechanics. Phonetically, it's a simple four-syllable structure: celebration. Notice how the primary linguistic stress lands heavily on that third syllable, bra. Say it with me. Celebration. Grounding yourself in that rhythmic structure is literally the first step to owning this word in your everyday communication. It gives the word this awesome forward momentum and makes it naturally punchy when you say it out loud.
Now, at its core, celebration is a noun, but it kind of lives a double life. Its primary function is totally abstract. It's the act of celebrating. And sure, we absolutely use it to describe a physical event, right? Like a big party with balloons, cake, the whole shebang. But the act of celebrating itself is the pure root usage we're zeroing in on right now. It's the conceptual foundation that honestly allows the physical party to even exist in our language. And this brilliantly illustrates what I mean. Imagine this scenario. In the middle of the raucous celebration, somebody lit off firecrackers. Just picture that chaotic, joyful energy for a second. You can almost hear the noise and feel the sudden surprise of the moment, can't you? When you connect an abstract vocabulary word to a vivid, noisy sensory experience exactly like this one, the meaning just instantly anchors in your memory. It completely transforms from boring letters on a page into a real, lived human experience. Let's transition that sensory energy into some more formal usage. Consider our first scenario with those raucous firecrackers, and let's contrast that with a completely different tone. The celebration of the winter solstice goes back hundreds of years. See the difference? One is a wild, loud party. The other is this solemn, historical observation. The sheer brilliance of this word is that it stretches to accommodate both of those extremes beautifully. It really proves its versatility across vastly different contexts.
Now, to truly lock a word into your active vocabulary, you have to build a sort of cognitive boundary around it. You've got to know what it is versus what it is not. A celebration inherently requires an active intent to observe a milestone or a victory. You wouldn't use it to describe, say, a quiet Tuesday morning, commuting to work, or just grabbing your usual coffee. Contrasting proper context with ordinary, everyday routine sharpens your precision and prevents you from diluting the word's overall impact.
Let's move to and see how this builds out our broader vocabulary web. We have direct synonyms, words like commemoration or merrymaking, that can be swapped in almost seamlessly, depending on how formal the occasion is. But then, we have the cousins. Words like jubilation or triumph carry a slightly different emotional weight, often implying a big victory rather than just your routine annual event. Recognizing these subtle degrees of separation gives you immense control over how you speak and write. And right here is the linguistic master key, the suffix ation. This is a Latin noun-forming suffix that simply means the act, process, or result of. Grasping this little formula is a real game changer. It doesn't just help you with celebration, it literally decodes countless English words for you on the fly. Frustration, observation, declaration, they all utilize this exact same architectural framework to turn actions into concepts we can easily study and discuss. But hey, knowledge is only useful if it's applied, right? So before we wrap up this explainer, I have a challenge for you. Think of an upcoming event in your own life that fits this framework. Formulate a quick sentence using the word and challenge yourself to weave in one of our synonyms or antonyms. Seriously, applying it to your immediate reality is what permanently cements those neural pathways we've just built together.
All right, let's bring it all home with a quick recap. The core meaning is the abstract act of celebrating, tethered by powerful synonyms like commemoration. You now have the suffix mechanics and the contextual boundaries completely mapped out. So as you head out into the world today, I'll leave you with this one thought. Armed with this precise linguistic framework, what exactly will you choose to commemorate next? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.